Sometime back, I was sharing with two pastor friends of mine, Tony Scott and Jensen Franklin, a word that I felt that was dropped in my spirit. And they both said to me, please share this on social media. So we chose the YouTube channel. Perry Stone Ministries Facebook page, we do post different things, but mostly in writing. We use the YouTube channel more for videos. But pay careful attention to what I'm going to share with you because I think it's very intriguing. In the Old Testament, there are two individuals that are very significant to biblical stories, biblical history, and one especially to prophecy. One is Pharaoh, the king of Egypt, and the other is Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon. In the time of Pharaoh, Egypt had many different gods, which you can be aware of when you read the story of Moses bringing the children of Israel out of Egyptian bondage in the 10 plagues, because the 10 plagues were actually direct attacks against the 10 idol gods of Egypt. Joseph, a young Hebrew man, was sent to Egypt, and as you know, he became a servant in Potiphar's house, was falsely accused of adultery, went to prison about 13 years, but had a gift to interpret dreams. Pharaoh, an idol worshiper, a man who did not know the true God, is given a spiritual dream, which goes to show you that God can speak to whomever he wishes. No one could interpret the dream but Joseph. As a result, Joseph became second in command in Egypt. He prepared food for a 7-year famine that was coming, survived the 7-year famine, and because of the favor that he had with Pharaoh, was able to bring his entire family to Egypt, where they lived until the time of the Exodus. But the real significant story, in my opinion, is another story found in Daniel about King Nebuchadnezzar. In Daniel chapter 2, which is the vision of the metallic image, Nebuchadnezzar has a dream of future empires. Now, that particular dream deals with 10 toes at the end of days that represent 10 kings which will arise in the future, which have not yet appeared on the earth. To this day, we are still preaching and teaching a 2,600-year-old dream given to a pagan heathen king by the name of Nebuchadnezzar. Now, when it comes to old Nebuchadnezzar, it's interesting because God had told the prophets that the Jews were going to go into Babylonian captivity, and he revealed to Jeremiah that the time frame would be 70 years, Jeremiah chapter 25, verse 11. Now, when Nebuchadnezzar prepared to invade Judea, God tells Jeremiah, Nebuchadnezzar, my servant. And I read that years ago, and I was so puzzled. I said, how could God call a man who is destroying the temple, stealing and seizing the temple treasures, and taking the Jews captive for 70 years in a strange land that's ruled by idol worshipers, and call him my servant? And I was talking to Pastor Tony Scott, and we came to this conclusion, not that we're the specialists, but I agreed with him, and he agreed with my assessment, that it was not because Nebuchadnezzar was necessarily a great moral man, a man of great impeccable character. He was a businessman. He was a smart man. He was a man that built Babylon by the works of his hands. And it was the most magnificent city ever built, probably up until that time, and maybe not quite anything since then. But God called him his servant because he was fulfilling his purpose. There was a purpose that God had for Nebuchadnezzar. He brought him to Babylon at the right place at the right time. Now, the point I want to bring out is this. Joseph became the salt and the light in Egypt, and Pharaoh became friendly to the Jews who were shepherds, who were, over cattle and sheep. And the Egyptians hated shepherds, according to the Bible, but they had favor because of Joseph. Joseph influenced the leadership. Now, in Nebuchadnezzar's day, it was Daniel. Daniel was thrown into the lion's den for praying under another leadership, the Medes and Persians. The 3 Hebrew children, however, the 3 Hebrew boys, as we call them, were thrown into a fiery furnace under Nebuchadnezzar, who had built an idol and were demanding people to worship it. But yet God calls him his servant. Are you kidding me? The point I make is this. After having a 7-year nervous breakdown, the Bible tells us that King Nebuchadnezzar met with Daniel and became a believer in Daniel's God and converted to the Hebrew God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. There's a reason I'm sharing this with you, and that is this. God says in Daniel chapter 2, I am the God that raises up kings, and I am the God that takes down kings. Meaning that in the long run, It is the sovereignty of God and the will of God in that season that is more important than anything else. There's a particular man who's been president that many people, they don't like his attitude. They think it's too brash. They think he's too bold. He's too outspoken. And there are even Christian people that say, well, I don't want anything to do with him because I don't think he's of high moral character. Well, listen to me. I want to share something with you. Let's go back to King Nebuchadnezzar. Nebuchadnezzar, he didn't even claim to be a believer. He was a worshiper of Marduk, an idol god, but yet God had a purpose for him. So we have to move, I think, beyond personality, and we have to look at purpose. And as Christians, and that's predominantly who I address, you just have to say to yourself in prayer, what is the purpose of God in this season? What are the dangers that lay before us if we go one direction versus an opposite direction? No, I'm not the kind of person to sit here and tell you what to do. You have the freedom to do whatever you wish. But whatever you do, exercise the freedom of voting. And realize this, God calls people a servant because they're serving His purpose. They're doing His will in that prophetic season. So please consider that as you vote. And if you've already voted, pray always that the perfect will of God will be done for America because a lot is at stake. Subscribe to my channel. There's some great updates coming in the future, and I don't want you to miss them. God bless you. Click the like button and subscribe to this channel and never miss a video by clicking the bell to get the alerts when a new video is posted. This YouTube channel is made possible by your generous donations. So to support our outreach of teaching, visit perrystone.org/YT.